What if I was to tell you that there is only one perfect line of Gundam model kits? Perfect looks, perfect detail, perfect build, and perfect articulation. Every one a masterpiece right out of box. No, it's not perfect grade. No, it's not real grade. It's master grade. SD. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Master Grade SD Gundam Aerial, a miniature masterpiece, just like we would have seen from the rest of the line. That is 4 for 4 perfect kits so far from this line, making it the only perfect line of Gundam model kits. What we saw before was the Master Grade SD Freedom, the Master Grade SD Barbatos, and the Master Grade SD Gundam Wing EW, all of which perfection out of box, and that goes for this kit too. First off, I will mention I got this kit right here through Hobby Link Japan, so link is down there in the description. I'll also mention that if you want to see the full build of this kit, I did do that in a separate video. So if you want to see how this tiny piece of perfection builds up, then you can check that out. This is an incredible kit with ridiculous gimmicks, especially in the legs and when it comes to the shell units. On top of that, the head is just as spectacular as this line has shown in the past. Again, I also have to mention that it is absolutely crazy that we got a Master Grade SD of Aerial before an actual Master Grade, but if Bandai ever does make a Master Grade, this shows just how incredible that could be. Anyway, let's jump right on in to the aesthetics. So jumping now on into the aesthetics, and this right here is the Master Grade SD Gundam Aerial just out of box snapped together. Now I did do a couple of things. First off, I did a panel line this kit using the usual flow type or pour type panel liners that I usually do use. These basically do the job for you. Just dip them on into those panel lines and they auto fill up and you just clean off the dots. There's a lot of nice panel lines on here, definitely worth getting some ink into. After that, then I did use the included decals. The decals in here are the sticker style, so that does mean you just peel and stick them on. That does mean they are pretty easy to use out of box. They do, however, have a little bit of a border around them, which is kind of the caveat. And just in case you're not that great with sticking these on, like I mentioned in a video a long time ago, there is a little bit of a hack. That is, you get yourself a little bit of washing up liquid, pop it in a lot of water, spray it onto the surface of your kit, then you can, stick them on like they're water slide decals, sort of. Wait for them to dry out, and you'll always have a perfect stuck-on decal. First off, when it comes to the aesthetics, is the overall silhouette, and Bandai has definitely nailed this while still getting the kind of ridiculously cool Master Grade SD proportions into this. Again, it's not really like your classic SD, it's a little bit in between a standard SD and, well, a fully fledged full-scale Gundam Aerial, and speaking of that right there is where it falls on, I guess, the Aerial scale. So over here we've got the high-grade version of the Gundam Aerial. We'll mention this one does have its weapons equipped, and the Mira Soul flight unit around back. So that does kind of change its overall look a little bit, but it's pretty much the exact same standard Aerial. Over here on this side then we've got the Full Mechanics 1100, so that is a larger scale kit. And as you can see, the SD isn't really all that small. It's not as small as a classic SD. I'm not sure where I stuck my SD Aerial, so I don't have that right now. And just because the question will totally pop up, if you were to ask me which one of these is the best model kit all around, I would say it's the Master Grade SD. Of course, I do prefer full, accurate 2-scale kits personally myself, so I would like a kit about this size with this amount of detail, but then again, wouldn't we all? Again, all three of these kits right here are great for their own different reasons. The high grade itself is a very nice kit, a fantastic high grade, and did revolutionize the line, or at least the Witch from Mercury kits did in general. What I prefer about this compared to the other two kits is this shell unit in the chest. Bandai still haven't outdone this. This is a kind of pre-printed, pre-molded shell unit that catches the light perfectly. No amount of stickers or internal parts has outdone this yet, at least with a standard out-of-box build. It just looks beautiful. When it comes to the 1100, of course, the scale is nice, the size is nice. When it came to the actual shell units and that, it went for metallic coated parts inside, which works okay, but it doesn't catch the eye quite as nicely as the high grade. What we've got with the Master Grade SD is a little bit different. It's neither of those things. It's actually a little bit on the duller side. So this is just an injection red plastic. This does mean you can paint it yourself if you want something a little bit more over the top. Get some metallic paints on there and it could shine up a whole lot more. Also, there is a really cool kind of gimmick with this particular kit right here. That means you can actually swap these out for the included blue version. So we do have 2 options inside of the box, which is very nice and easy to swap. But we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Back to the aesthetics. So when it comes to the details as well as the color separation on here, it is absolutely perfect, as you can see. Color separation wise, there is no included stickers at all. As far as I can see, everything is absolutely color accurate down to the heels, the bottom of the feet looking fantastic. We've got some great little detailing like the pipes and the sides of the legs. All those vents looking superb. The backpack, like we saw in the build, has so much extra detail compared to anything we would have seen before. The decals have been very, very nicely designed. Now, I haven't used every single one of these, but I've used quite a few. Some go on the clearer parts, and that does make the border show up a lot, which is a little bit on the sad side. We've got a very nice color separated piece up here, and of course, one of the nicest things about this line right here is just how piercing the eyes are. This is one of those silvered parts underneath some clear green. The silver parts are everywhere, like on the center of the V-fin there. We got some popping through, up on the shoulders right here. I think there's some underneath the front skirtings as well, yeah, right there. Overall, they do look great. Some there in the chest as well, breaking up all of that plastic so perfectly. Also, like I did mention, the shell units here, they don't really pop too much. I guess if you actually painted up the little pieces, they are easy to get out. For example, on the leg right here, it's super simple. You just actually open this little flap right here and you can just take it on out for the alternate pieces, but we'll save that for a little bit later on. Overall, the detail and the aesthetics are off the charts entirely. It just looks so good. And for an SD, crazy. Oh yeah, the white is also split up into a light white as well as a darker shade of white, which, well, again, is a light grey in that almost real grade style way. So this has the best of every grade going inside of it. Honestly, these things are mini masterpieces, and compared to the other guys, here is the entire lineup in release order. That is the Master Grade SD Freedom, the Master Grade SD Gundam Barbatos, the Master Grade SD Wing Zero EW, and what we're taking a look at today, of course, being the Aerial. This is a phenomenal line so far. Every one, absolute masterpiece out of box. Beautiful detail, great color separation, all of which have the cool metallic silver detailing. I did make a little bit of a mistake in the build saying that they all have that cool honeycomb effect in the clearer parts, but actually the first one, as far as I can see right now, the Freedom doesn't actually have that. So Aerial, not the only one without. It's just Barbie and Wing. So now jumping into that full 360-degree spin so you can see everything about this model kit, just in case I forgot to mention something that you want to see. Overall, this just looks incredible. Again, so much detail all over the place. We've got full color separation, clear parts with the semi-nice, I will say, injection plastic shell units inside of them. We've got those nice little metallic silver plastic pieces. The clear parts shine extremely, extremely nicely, and all the little details all over the place look so good. The panel lining's nice. Overall design of all the panels all over the place, just everything is a joy to look at. Probably, like I've mentioned time and time again in this review already, this shining star of this kit, just like with SD kits, is the head. So much detail, it's beautiful, it's got a whole lot of attitude, and those eyes pop so well. I hope the next time we see a fully fledged actual Master Grade, they replicate these eyes. They can do them small, they totally can. It would look so, so good. So now jumping on into the accessories, and here's the Master Grade SD with absolutely everything that it comes with. What we get in here is a beam rifle, a pair of beam sabers, an effect part for using with the beam rifle, the Escutcheon Shield made out of bit staves, and we've got a whole bunch of shell unit permit in blue, which you can swap out with the red, which are also included, which are right now inside of the shell units inside of Aerial. So first up, when it comes to the hands in here, these are pretty much the same hands we've seen across this line so far, with one very important update. First off, these are the almost classic Master Grade style hands, or should I say mid-range classic Master Grade hands, where all three fingers are attached together. However, they are on two ball joints, which means you can't separate the fingers into individual digits, but the index and the thumb right here are on their own joints, so you can pose them whatever way that you want. Now, the big change between this and pretty much anything we've seen from this line so far, maybe anything I've ever seen, well, ever with the Master Grade, is this. That little tab in the hand. So this isn't a tab coming out, it's not a tab going in, it's one going towards the actual forearm, which means the weapons actually lock in backwards, which works exceptionally well. But we'll leave that until we're actually taking a look at those. Next up, I will mention the compatibility with the action base. And this is also really nice too. So the actual action base hole is underneath this flap. So you just open this up like that, and there it is. So when it's not actually on an action base, you can close this up, and it's still kind of a, well, it's kind of lacking one of those obvious model kit, well, aspects. We do have a hard point here and on the backpack, but this is a very, very nice touch. Anyway, you can just use any 3mm base. The first weapons we have in here are the beam sabers, so these are the flat type. Out of box, these have been a little bit on the bent side, just so you know, if you do get bent beam sabers, all you have to do is pop them into some hot, not boiling water until they're a little bit soft, then you can flatten them out in something and let them cool, and they will be dead straight then. But I'm just gonna go with what I've got right here. Once again, these handles are made up of 2 parts. It almost seems like there isn't really much point to it, but it does mean they look very nicely detailed. I'm surprised they actually didn't break them up into the light grey and white to actually make the 2 pieces really make more sense. So getting these into the hands is super simple. This little section right here, you can actually see how it works. So there's a little bit of a kind of rail attachment to this. You actually pop the peg into this big hole and slide it upwards or downwards depending on how you attach it on. This is so simple and works out great. Pop it into the hand like this, slide it down, it is locked into position and it holds on so well. This is the best hand peg I have ever seen. I was wondering if reverse grip would work or if that would be kind of not possible with this new design, but I just popped the other one in reverse grip and it all worked out nicely. You can pose this up perfectly with these attached, no risk whatsoever of them ever falling out, and this is what it looks like in a pose. Again, perfect line of kits. This one has even made the hands even better. I am blown away. So nice. When these are not in use, you can store them around the backpack. To do that, you just pop off the beams just like so, and there's little tabs on the backpack that you just throw them onto. The articulation on these is off the charts nice. Not only do we have the ball joints up top, we also have peg joints below, so these move around so nicely, and a third ball joint in the actual center section as well, attaching onto the side part. So there's a lot of moving around back here now. I will mention when I did pull these off the first time, it pulled the whole ball joint out. It doesn't seem to be doing it anymore, so maybe if you leave them on for a while, it might tighten up. If I just pop the ball joint back in, it was no big issue. Next up in here we have the beam rifle. This is probably the simplest thing in the entire kit. So it's just 2 sides to this. We do have these little flip out bits right here, just kind of pull them like that and like that. And this is for basically attaching it onto any of the hard points. There's one on this side, one on this side too. Besides that, it doesn't actually do anything. We do have a bit of color separation on the white part here, but besides that, fairly simple. Of course, we do have the option of using the included beam effect, which just slots on like so. Again, this is identical to the high grade, as are the beam saber beams. And I did forget to mention, now I did actually forget to mention while doing the beam sabers that this right here does actually react to blue or black light, which is always pretty cool. So just popping these lights off. This is it under a kind of normal light. So we don't have any glow yet. Now swing it around to a blue light and there you go. It just starts to absolutely glow. So that one there looks kind of the best. Look at that. It just catches that light absolutely perfectly. Get this under a blue or black light and it will shine up a storm. So when it comes to getting this into the hand, exactly the same as the beam saber, same awesome locking mechanism peg, slot it on, slide it down, wrap the fingers around, and you've got a rock solid kung fu grip that's not going to drop this ever. Also, changing the lights around a little bit, there is the blue light on it again, so this shines up a storm, just like we would have seen with the awesome high-grade effects, which these are right here. When the beam rifle is not in use, removing it is just as simple as attaching it on. Just lift up, take it off, super simple. We've got these little hard point sections or pegs on the side which fold out, either or side, and you can attach it into the backpack just like so. This does have a little bit of articulation in it, so you can actually move it up and down depending on which way you want to get your pose, and it also moves side to side because it is a peg, so you can always get it exactly where you need it. Pretty cool. Last up in here we've got the Escutcheon, and we've seen this with every version of Aerial so far, but not to this level of detail. This doesn't have any kind of mount to attach all the pieces off. We've got a lot of transforming little bits and pieces going on inside of it, and overall it is just perfectly detailed. There are some decals included too for the surface of this, just like the rest of the Gundam. Aerial's Escutcheon is a multi-use weapon, so it does have a bunch of different forms. So when it's not used as the actual shield mode, you're able to split it apart into all of the various different bit staves. Now, the way these attach and detach from each other is absolutely fantastic. There's a ton of sliding mechanisms between them all, so they latch together so nicely. I'm doing it in reverse here, so if you wanted to see what it looks like being attached together, well, I could just play it backwards like this, and it's kind of something like that. But anyway, they do attach together. Some have some locking mechanisms, and it is rock solid when they are attached. Now, when they are detached, you can display them as the actual bit staves flying around, but I will mention Bandai has designed these to specifically work with their Witch from Mercury mini stands, and really them only, because as you can see it's 3mm pegs, so you will have to have a hollow adapter. Some of them have these little flat sections like so, and that does mean you're going to have the actual little adapter segments that come inside of the Witch from Mercury action base kit. Now these shitty little things are always going missing on me, so I can't find them anywhere right now, but if you do plan to post this up in the air with these flying around, I do recommend grabbing a couple of packets of these little stands, as well as Bandai's Action Base 4 or Action Base 5. These actually attach together like so you can have a big old display of Aerial in the middle and all of these flying around it. I don't actually have mine handy right now, so straight to the bid-on form. So when it does come to reproducing the bit on form, this is pretty easy to do and also really awesome. There's a lot of sliding and moving mechanisms in the actual bit staves. For the butt, you roll out 2 of these pegs, attach them into the butt flap section bit stave, and that attaches onto the rear hardpoint of the waist unit. When it comes to the hip staves, you just rotate this little section right here, pop both onto the hips. When it comes to the right and the left wrist bracers, both of these have a little sliding mechanism to hide their attachment points from attaching them together, and they just pop on like so. Finally, the shoulder sections are super simple. They're just plates like this that slap onto the shoulders, and that right there is what the Master Grade SD Aerial looks like in its bit on form. And all I have to say is, this has added so much beautiful bulk in that usual aerial bit on form sort of way, but it just works so well. I think it's just all the detail going on. This looks so good. There it is in a couple of poses, so you can actually see what it looks like from every angle, and I have to say I am super impressed. This looks absolutely phenomenal, and all we've left now to take a look at is the swappable shell units. Alright, so this right here is going to be my first ever attempt at actually swapping out the shell units. Hopefully the bit on form won't get too much in the way. Anyway, first off, we've got the one around at the back. In order to do that, it just pops up like so and out. So there you go. You just lift out the red bit of permit just like so. Pop the alternate piece in exactly the same way, just like that. So I can already tell this isn't going to look that phenomenal because it's just plain old blue. It's kind of dead inside of there. Compared to some other kits where it shines a little bit more, that not looking fantastic. Continuing along, when it comes to the head, there's a really cool gimmick here. You just press on the rear head camera like so, which will push out the front of the head so you can get a grip on the clear outer section. Pull that off, remove the permit stuff from on the inside, replace it with the blue, pop the clear section back on and make sure to press it in all the way so the head camera pops back out again. Once again, another cool gimmick on the chest, you just pull the blue sections outwards just like so. That allows you to take out the clear pieces and then the shell units inside. Inside it does look nice and technical, which is a pretty cool touch. Add in the blue permit like so, pop back on the clear smoky sections and then just close it all up like it was before. The legs are super simple, you just bend the knees and then you've just got a little bit of a door that opens up like so. Take out the permit you don't want, attach in the permit you do, and close it on up. Finally, up on the shoulders, these can be a little bit difficult. You pull them outwards to open them up, which takes a bit of force. They then slide, or should I say rotate backwards, and then you can just pop out the permit from behind and pop in the one you want, rotate back, shut it closed. So yeah, that right there is what the Master Grade SD Aerial looks like with the blue permit going off. And all I can say is this is definitely a little bit on the underwhelming side. Blue against blue doesn't really pop that much, and this kind of metallic injection blue isn't very shiny at all. So in a way, it almost looks like the permit is kind of, well, turned off. It's only under a very bright light you'll actually notice that it's blue inside. So you may want to metallic paint this, or if you're feeling very experimental, get some LEDs in there. It would look so cool. Out of the two, the red pops more, but still a little bit on the dull side. So finally now, jumping on to the articulation and the usual comment on the build, this is rock solid, very nice. The only thing I've had occasionally happen is when you move the legs a lot, they eventually work their way off like so. Otherwise, everything's pretty much solid. Chest shell unit fell off, but that's my fault. Reattached it on wrong. Anyway, usual pose time. So when it comes to posing the Master Grade SD Aerial, it's an absolute joy. Every joint feels perfect, has a great range of motion, perfect strength. We've got some moving gimmicks in the knees, which is really nice. The shoulders have so much going on so they can move all the way out and up. Nothing gets in the way of each other. It just feels so good. The head, even though it is huge, has great articulation too, and everything can always move out of the way of everything else if stuff starts to clash. You can get the arm right up into the air from the shoulder. Everything just worked. We've got a toe bend, everything. This right here is what I got in the end, and as you can see, it is ridiculously dynamic and perfect. Everything just works out so well. Again, except for that hip joint likes to rotate off. Just when you get into a pose, make sure that's locked on in. Anyway, toe bend is always super nice to have. The drum style ankles make sure it can stay right flat on the ground. The shoulder articulation lets it move all the way up like so, and just everything is absolutely phenomenal. First off, at the neck, there's all the way up and all the way down. So as you can see, great range of motion with multiple joints. Full side to side, great tilt side to side as well, and all in all, brilliant. When it comes to the shoulder joint, there's a lot going on, forward and back right here, and there is an up and down mechanism in the actual shoulder as well. That's the internal of the joint, so as you can see, forward and back, up and down, so impressive. So when it is extended all the way out like so, the shoulder moves independently. There is the arms articulation all the way up. Super impressive. Just align this out of the way and you got it. The shoulder armor has two moving flaps, one in here, one outside here. Full rotation at the upper arm. Double jointed elbow bend, extremely nice. The wrist is a combination joint of a ball joint in here and a hinge at this point. As we saw before, the fingers can all move just like so, these three connected. Very nice ab crunch too, back and forward like this. A nice splitting mechanism actually happening right here. There is the side to side, and that is incredibly impressive, rocking at the waist as well. And speaking of at the waist, there is this funny little motion, just this right here, that actually gives it a little bit more. And that's actually a funny little joint inside here that kind of just clicks back and forward. Around the backpack, we do have a ball joint right here, little moving peg right here. Simple side skirtings move up and down like so. Ball jointed front skirtings can move like this, and we have a little bit of a mechanism that raises the front crotch up and out like so. So one more time, there it is all the way out, there it is all the way back in. What we get then for the kicks is there all the way up to the front, so incredibly impressive, all the way out to the back. Once again, if you do this a lot, it will work the leg off. I don't know why they didn't put a locking mechanism here like they did on the shoulder, so that does work its way off every now and then. As for the splits, no problem. Little bit of an upper leg rotation. As for the knee bend, I actually popped the leg off just so you can see just how perfect this is. Just look at that, the way everything separates out. It's not just an upper leg moving segment like we've seen in some master grades in the past. The whole thing shifts with tons of stuff running through the leg to pull everything into position. That is so nice. Some nice light gray inside of there as well. Oh my god, I need to see a full-fledged master grade with this. Also at the ankle itself, it moves just like so to the front and to the back. Side to side is on one of those drum joints, so you get so much out of it. And we do have this nice toe bend as well. Once again, there's the example of the test pose, and this absolutely crushes it completely. The articulation on here is great. The only down point is the hips can work their way off if you move the leg around a lot, but that really isn't that big of a deal. If you're paying attention to what you're doing, this is perfection. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and when it comes to the Master Grade SD Gundam Aerial, this is Platinum tier and only 2 points off getting that Gundarium tier, or should I say X-Gundarium tier award. When it comes to the aesthetics of this kit, it is absolutely gorgeous. It only really lost 1 point due to the fact that the shell units just aren't as popping as they could be. Everything about this is great. The detailing on all of the surfaces, fantastic. The colors are vivid, it's 100% color accurate. We've got clear parts, metallic injection parts, silver metallic injection parts, and the decals in here are pretty damn good, all things considered. Again, the only down point is the shell units. You've got the blue and the red, neither of which actually pop. We've seen some phenomenal shell units in the past, and Bandai didn't really make these ones too crazy. They're a little bit subtle and just not as impactful as they should be for the over-the-top Gundam Aerial. Next up, when it does come to the accessories in here, it's a fairly okay set. It's nothing too over-the-top except when it comes to the Escutcheon. The Escutcheon is very well designed in here, the best one we've seen so far. The need for actual proprietary bases is a little bit on the crappy side, but it is what it is. They're not that expensive, just make sure to grab some when you're grabbing the kit. The beam rifle is a little bit on the plain side. It doesn't really look too crazy or over the top compared to the mech itself. Then again, it doesn't really need to. There is recycled high-grade parts, not a big deal. They look great, so overall, pretty good. Next time when it does come to the articulation in here, this is 5 out of 5 perfection. It's so good. Everything moves so nicely. There's articulation everywhere it needs to be. The head moves around great. We've got fantastic shoulders. The knees are incredible. They are poetry in motion, the way they bend and split apart as they do. Nothing here drops the ball. Every pose you could ever want out of this tiny pint-sized badass mecha you can get. Finally then, when it does come to the build, this is 5 out of 5 as well. It was just so fun to build. It's really nice, it's unique, it's not like anything else. Building the little moving gimmicks in it is so much fun. Everything layers up absolutely perfectly, and the finished kit is rock solid. Be aware you can kind of wind off the legs when posting it a lot, not a big deal. If you've never built yourself a Master Grade SD, do it. These are like Master Grades, but almost better. These actually make me sad for the state of Master Grade today. I want to see more Master Grades like this. When I was holding the full mechanics 1/100 Aerial beside this, it felt so hollow and lifeless compared to this absolute killer tiny little beast. I want to see this in Master Grade form. I want to see it in Master Grade form with light up LEDs inside of the shell units. That would be insane. Anyway, I got mine right here through HobbyLink Japan, link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. It wouldn't be the end of the video without special thanks to each and every single one of you guys for watching my videos, and special thanks to the channel members and the members over on Patreon, including Caleb, Engelhardt, Joe, RG59061, Scotty Thomas, Simon, and Van Fawn.